Please have a seat. Mike D, I have to, so Mike D's Barbecue, let me tell you one of the biggest fans of Mike D's Barbecue. My husband dug him off.
It's a good economic policy, okay? Barbecue
and
for all.
thank you, Mike, for sharing your story. And I'm just so sorry for what your family has been through, but you have, out of an incredible tragedy, done so much for the community, and you are such a role model. So thank you, Mike, for everything you do.
I'm going to be clear, by the way, you should not trust a goddamn thing that comes out of any presidential candidate's mouth when they talk economics, okay?
With us today, including my friend, the Governor, Roy Cooper. Where is he? Here with his daughter. Every time I land in North Carolina, I'm just literally coming down the stairs of Air Force Two, I will shout to Roy Cooper, "What number is it, Roy?" And today he shouted 16, which is the number of times I've been in this beautiful state since I've been vice president. Every time. I want to thank your next governor, Attorney General Josh Stein. He's doing incredible work. He's going to be an extraordinary governor. Representatives Adam, Manning, Foushee, and Nickel, thank you all for your support, for your friendship, for your leadership. Chair Thomas of the Wake County Board of Commissioners, thank you for all that you do. And to all the leaders that are here today, including the students and instructors here at Wake Tech North. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all. So listen, this election, I do strongly believe, is about two very different visions.
Shut up. Kamala team on inflation. All that said, Harris is trying to win a presidential election. To win elections, you have to run on popular ideas. The voters, in their infinite wisdom, strongly favor laws against price gouging. If you really feel like giving yourself a headache, I suggest reading this slide from Evan Ross Smith, pollster for Center-Left Democratic Policy Initiative Blueprint, showing voters' opinions of various proposals to fight inflation. You'll see the two most popular ideas for disinflation, lower interest rates and lower taxes, are in fact inflationary. The third, you know what? Listen, okay?
Work. We were facing.
Don't care. There is one economist that I listen to, and that's Unlearning Economics, okay? The kinds of economists who get boosted by political parties are the ones who say stuff that their donors approve of. There are literally thousands of well-read, well-studied economists out there who people are like, economists are all right-wing. No, the economists that get boosted by corporate media are right-wing. There are tons of economists who are... like during the Reagan era, the Reagan administration had some puppet economists who were like, yeah, you know, trickle-down economics is a great idea. They didn't actually believe that, and neither did the field of economics. There were tons of economists back during the Reagan administration who were like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not how any of this works. But those weren't the ones that were boosted. So I don't, like, when it comes to the economic prescriptions made by people who are favored by those in power, I just don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. Not even a little bit. Don't be like Thought Slime and say economics made up. No. The stock market is made up. Economics is not made up. Marx was an economist. But the kind of economics that are pushed by economists who are favored by those in power, they do tend to be bullshit, in my opinion.
Or the middle,
which is fact.
That advance their economic security, stability, and dignity. Together, we will build what I call an opportunity economy.
That's one of the letters.
Opportunity economy. An economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed.
I forgot what I was saying.
Everyone, regardless of who they are or where they start, has an opportunity to build wealth for themselves and their children. And where we remove the barriers to opportunity, so anyone who wants to start a business or advance their career can access the tools and the resources that are necessary to do so.
Also, I want to say that I'm generally in favor of keeping interest rates relatively high because I simultaneously believe that getting a house is too hard and getting a mortgage is too easy. Houses should not cost $1 billion-trillion, but also like I don't know, it does. Yeah, I don't know about like any dumb with a 30K a year income being able to get a commitment for 30 years. That'll keep them on the hook forever. I don't know if like facilitating that is necessary. I think we should tackle this from like the cost of housing side and not from the ease of getting the loan to buy the $1 trillion house side. Just my opinion.
I will focus on cutting needless bureaucracy and unnecessary regulatory red tape and encouraging innovative technologies while protecting consumers and creating a stable business environment with consistent and transparent rules of the road. As president, I will bring together labor with small businesses and major companies to invest in America, to create good jobs, achieve broad-based growth, and ensure that America continues to define the future and lead the world.
Okay, so far nothing means anything.
And key to creating this opportunity economy is building up our middle class. It is essential. The middle class is one of America's greatest strengths. And to protect it, then, we must defend basic principles, such as your salary should be enough to provide you and your family with a good quality of life.
Communism.
Such as no child should have to grow up in poverty.
Communism.
Such as after years of hard work, you should be able to retire with dignity.
We don't believe in retiring here in
And you
America.
should be able to join a union if you choose.
Retirement
Building up the middle class
in America is
will be
being
a
a Walmart
defining
grader.
goal of my presidency. Because I strongly believe when the middle class is strong, America is strong. So in the weeks to come, I will address in greater detail my plans to build an opportunity economy. And today, I will focus on one element that's on the minds of many Americans.
This is like a common neoliberal brain rot that you should always keep an eye out for. You cannot simultaneously say, I believe that everyone should be able to have a decent standard of life, and then call it an opportunity economy. I don't want people to have the opportunity to live a decent life. I want that to be a guarantee. I want a guarantee economy, you know? It's still the liberal framing, the idea that the market is a battlefield where you have the chance to rise. What does rising mean? What does rising look like? You get to become Elon Musk, you know? Wow, if you do really, really well, you get to, like, you know, impoverish millions of other people through your accumulation of wealth, disproportionately skew the country right with your political leanings, and also be who, like, I don't know, abandons their children. Like, what's the winning here, you know? You should be guaranteed a good life.
As they pay their bills at the kitchen table or walk the aisles of a grocery store. And that is lowering the cost of living. So every day across our nation, families talk.
Also, I'm really sorry, but lowering the cost of living is kind of sort of not really gonna happen. When was the last time you remember commodity prices dropping? You see it happens with gas sometimes, and sometimes you see it happen with, like, housing prices. It depends on the area. But very rarely do you see, like, oh yeah, rent is decreasing. That's happened in Austin. They have done some good work there. Overwhelmingly, though, it's about raising wages. It's really kind of a shame that the fight for 15 cause has gone on so long that 15 isn't even enough anymore in a lot of the country. If you're living in, like, I don't know, West Virginia, then 15 would probably buy you a mansion, but, you know.
About their plans for the future, their ambitions, their aspirations.
God willing, Eddie.
For themselves, for their children. And they talk about how they're going to be able to actually achieve them financially. Because look, the bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes, prescription medication. After all that, for many families, there's not much left at the end of the month. I grew up in a middle-class household. For most of my childhood, we were renters. My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was. I kind of understood what it meant, but we called her Mommy. Mommy was so excited, it just made us excited that she was so excited. Later in college, I worked at McDonald's to earn spending money. Well, some of the people I worked with were raising families on that paycheck. They worked second or even third jobs to pay rent and buy food. That only gets harder when the cost of living goes up. When I am elected president...
Never forget that the demon here is capitalism. Not to be one of those YouTubers. Wow, do you know the problems caused by capitalism? But, like, literally, in terms of the absolute productive power of the human race, we have the ability to provide everyone a decent life. Like, genuinely. Anyone who says otherwise is lying to you. Everyone in America, certainly, with our disproportionate wealth and access and so on and so forth, everyone in America could easily, we could sustain a middle-class lifestyle. It wouldn't even be that difficult. But there are trillions and trillions of dollars kept out of the economy by rich. They hoard it all in the Cayman Islands or whatever. You know, the Panama Papers, an ungodly amount of wealth is just removed from society so it can sit in a vault, you know, not do anything. It doesn't circulate. You give money to the middle class, they spend it on stuff. The economy gets stimulated. You give money to the wealthy, they hoard it. They don't need to spend it because they're already wealthy, you know? And wealth accumulation as such is like increasing year after year. You know, it's like an economic, they're like leeches, you know, parasites, one might say. It's almost, you know, I'm not to sound like a communist here or anything, but the bourgeoisie, you know, folks, I don't like what they're doing to the economy. I think they might be contributing to the oppression of the working class. I don't think I think we're getting a raw deal. Banks lend money. It doesn't sit in a cash flow. I didn't say banks. I said the wealthy. Look into the Panama Papers. Trillions, tens of trillions of dollars just removed from the economy. Just yoink. They yoinked it. They're yoinking it. What is the solution? Well, you know.
President, I will make
they're yoinking it. Maybe we should yoink it a little bit.
A top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans. As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't.
No, I don't think any grocery chains are passing along. Find me a grocery chain that's like, we're making a lot of money and we're going to reduce the prices of all of our goods because of it. I don't know about that. I don't believe in the, you know, not all grocery chains.
Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules.
No, for one, the rules are rigged in their favor. Contributing to the economy is a meaningless, like what contributing to, that's meaningless. Everyone and everything does. That's what the economy is. And they don't create jobs. Job creation rhetoric, neoliberal bullshit. They don't create jobs. The need for labor exists. They facilitate it. If anything, it's the workers who create the profits for the owning class, you know? Creating jobs, honestly. We're creating for you the opportunity to do things that make us money. Oh, does the creation on our end, like, make us have to do any work? No, you're the one doing the work. That's the job we're creating. You.
But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case.
This is why you can never, ever, 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 ever trust a liberal when it comes to these populist economic prescriptions, because they don't actually believe in solving the problem. The problem is fundamental and systemic, you know? I'm really, really sorry, but no matter how good Kamala Harris might be relative to Donald Trump, there's just no getting around the fact that this attitude can only ever procure like incremental marginal decreases in the rate at which capital accumulation takes place.
As Attorney General in California,
Walls
I went
liberal.
after companies that illegally increased prices, including wholesalers that inflated the price of prescription medication, and companies that conspired with competitors to keep prices of electronics high. I won more than $1 billion for consumers. So believe me, as president, I will go after the bad actors.
See, exactly, bad actors rather than bad system. You get it. Kind of like the liberal parallel to what the Project 2025 guy was saying about how there are no bad systems, only bad individuals, you know? Except he was talking about people of different races, and, you know, she's talking about the mythical good capitalists.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food. My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic...
Not to disagree with the broader point, but how do you account for a genuine decrease in wealth inequality throughout the post-war period? The New Deal was the New Deal. Massive government spending, and equitable policies, and what have you. I mean, you can do stuff. We were built different back then, okay? Isn't the New Deal pre to during World War II? Yeah, but the effects of the New Deal like cascaded out, like it took time to develop out the full effects of that. You pull us out of the Great Depression, World War II, the GI Bill, yeah, the whole 9 yards. But most of it had to do with empowering the middle class, and the empowerment of the middle class is something that is done to the detriment of the bourgeoisie for the most part, you know? Like, capital accumulation at the very top and empowerment of the middle class tend to be not necessarily opposite, but they tend not to get along, you know? Gotta fleece money from the middle class. 90% marginal tax rate also helped. Yep.
Companies that exploit crises and break the rules, and we will support smaller food businesses that are trying to play by the rules and get ahead. We will help the food industry become more competitive, because I believe competition is the lifeblood of our economy.
Yeah.
More competition means lower prices for you and your families.
I mean, don't listen to economists on that one, where like actually competition in some fields can lead to unnecessary waste because multiple companies and production lines are competing to produce functionally the exact same thing, which just leads to a waste in resources. Or the fact that oftentimes the competition is transparently like not real, and they carve out little enclaves of monopoly, or you know, they collude, varying extents of which like happens all the time, and can't really prove that it's happening, and whatever.
Now compare what Donald Trump plans to do. He wants to impose what is in effect a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that we import from other countries. That will devastate Americans. It will mean higher prices, on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. And you know, economists have done the math. Donald Trump's plan...
Sales tax should be massively reformed. That's my most neo-con. Sales tax shouldn't exist. It's literally a regressive tax that disproportionately affects the poor. It's bullshit. It's a poor tax, yeah. The poor spend a higher proportion of their income on stuff that they would pay sales tax for.
A typical family, $3,900 a year. At this moment, when everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher. As president, I'll take on the issue of the cost of health care. As Attorney General, I took on insurance companies and Big Pharma and got them to lower their prices. And together with President Biden, we've gone even further. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month, and the total cost...
That's good.
And the total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. We let Medicare negotiate lower drug prices for seniors. Cool. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs.
Yay. It's not even a price cap, technically, because the government's instead just saying, like, we won't buy it at any price higher than this, and also we're the only one you can sell to. That's not a price cap, technically. It's a purchase cap. Very sneaky. Ooh.
And I pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors.
Not going to happen, because that would be a price cap.
And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. 2 months ago, I announced that medical debt will no longer be used against your credit score. And I will work as president with states like here in North Carolina.
That's also kind of like a liberal take, because medical debt should absolutely be counted in your credit score. It's just that the credit score shouldn't exist. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, if you take for granted the idea that a credit score should exist, medical debt absolutely should be a part of it. It's just that the credit score shouldn't exist. So it's like, well, we've arbitrarily decided that this one unfair element of an unfair measurement is unfair, but we're not going to, like, you know, take it the full way. It's basically what we say the Chinese social credit score is. I don't like the conflation, because the Chinese social credit score is literally like the government measuring how patriotic of a citizen you are, whereas the American credit score is just, are you, like, trustworthy to loan to, you know? I don't like it when people do the comparisons, because I agree that our credit score is fucking stupid, but it's pretty huge difference between, like, this person can't pay back a loan versus this person made critical statements about Xi Jinping on social media. Like, that's, you know, it's a pretty meaningful difference, but neither should exist.
Roy Cooper, thank you again, to cancel medical debt for more and more, millions more Americans.
What are you expecting her to do? Get up there and go, I get rid of capitalism? Why are you whining? What do you think I'm a liberal? What are you whining? I'm whining about capitalism. Should I not do that? Should I pretend that just because I prefer Kamala Harris to Biden or Trump that I have to, like, just accept the status quo? Shut up.
As for Donald Trump, well, he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which 45 million Americans rely on. 45 million Americans rely on it for health care. that would take us back to a time when insurance...
I'm mostly just confused about your tone shift. Are you onboarding the new people? What do you mean? I'm just saying what I believe. Why are you being weird? I was always a socialist. If Kamala Harris is talking about social policy, I'm probably going to agree with her, like, preferably over Trump. Like, what do you mean? Now you're being a salty bitch today? You don't project your liberalism onto me. What is up with you guys? I gotta remind you more often. You know? Ridiculous, honestly. It's the new viewer. It's just how I feel. What do you guys are, you think you're smarter than me with your cynicism? The only reason Vosh is saying these things that he's always believed and is consistently repeated for over 5 years now is a strategic element. What do you mean you're being weird? I'm just a guy. I'm just a little birthday boy. I'm over here in my glasses, sharing how I feel. You're getting salty over it? Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that was. And we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And remember, and this is why we're not going back, because we do remember, he tried to cut Medicare every year he was president, threatening a program that
I think this is just effective strategy from Kamala. She's combating the communist accusation of Trump. No, she's not. She's just a liberal. It's not 5D chess. She's going to be called a communist literally no matter what she does. To the average American, this is communism, okay? You please don't like, it's a median voter thing. To the average American, this is like crazy left-leaning economics, you know? It's not, this isn't about combating those accusations, you know? She's just a liberal. It's not like special or anything. She's a liberal. They're all liberals. Liberal, you know? Don't fall for it. It's not like a 5D strategy, you know? She's SPD, okay? If you did the German Socialist Revolution, she would have you killed and thrown in a river, okay? Don't get it twisted. You think she's your friend?
Of millions of seniors count on. And according to his Project 2025 agenda, he intends to undo our work to bring down prescription drugs, the cost of prescription drugs, and insulin costs. Well, we've come too far to let that happen.
Yay.
So we're not going back on that, and let's talk about the cost of housing.
It should be higher.
So now, the housing market can be complicated, but look, I'm not new to this issue. As State Attorney General, I drafted and helped pass a homeowner bill.
Well, you're not new to this issue. You were a prosecutor in San Francisco, where the housing crisis is maybe the worst in the entire nation. So,
rights, one of the first in America. And during the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks for predatory lending with many of my colleagues, including Roy Cooper, and won $20 billion for California families when I was Attorney General.
Yay.
So I know how to fight for people.
For anyone who wants to get mad at me for not being a liberal, I encourage you to go to YouTube and search for my rant on decommodifying housing, where I spent 2 hours yelling at chat about how they need to get up against the wall and accept the housing voucher given to them by the state. You know, that was a good bit. Yeah, that was a good bit. I stand by it. Most red-pilled I've ever been.
People who are being exploited in the housing market. And I know what home ownership means. It's more than a financial transaction. It's so much more than that.
Liberal economics, Jake.
It's more than a house. Home ownership and what that means, it's a symbol of the pride that comes with hard work. It's financial security. It represents what you will be able to do for your children. And sadly, right now, it is out of reach for far too many American families. There's a serious housing shortage. In many places...
I hate this language so much. True, no one should own a home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should fully decommodify it. I agree. And individuals owning it is the commodification of it. Yeah. Good luck, Riverboat Jack. Get the pump on in the license photo.
It's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up.
I want decommodified housing.
As president, I will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy. We will take down.
What's confusing me is why you're saying this. We all know she'd be bad. Wait, I can't say it's... I can't... What? Then why should I say anything positive about Kamala Harris when she does something good? Because you know I'm going to be positive on that. What do you mean? Why are you saying this? Because you believe it? I don't understand. You guys are just chafing at me criticizing her. Can you stop? I can tell. You're not slick, okay? You think you can outmaneuver me? I see it. You just don't like me criticizing her. You don't like the tone whiplash of me praising her then criticizing her. That's life. Sorry. That's called being principled. That's the reason why I'm not one of the sucking sycophants on YouTube who get like no views between elections but a million views a video like during the election because they're out there making videos like Donald Trump nearly tripped while walking downstairs, or Kamala Harris just owned the such and such, and it's just like nonstop dick-sucking liberalism with no underlying principles. You know, they would have done it with Biden, they would have done it with Harris. I don't know why you guys are so aggressively uncomfortable with me being critical of liberal economics. Jesus.
And cut red
yeah, I am
tape,
a dick sucker. I'm just not a sycophant.
Thank you. Local levels. And by the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. And we will do that together.
What about the working class?
We will do that together. And we will make sure those homes actually go to working and middle class Americans, not just investors. Because, you know, some corporate landlords, some of them, buy dozens, if not hundreds of houses and apartments.
Thousands.
Then they turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices.
Yeah, that's called a free market economy. That's kind of what the criticism is about. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to price cap? Because there are issues with that, too.
It can make it impossible, then, for regular people to be able to buy or even rent a home. Some corporate landlords collude with each other to set artificially high rental prices.
All corporations do this, thank you. Also, yeah, what are you going to do about it?
Often using algorithms in price-fixing software to do it. It's anti-competitive, and it drives up costs. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices.
How? Again, it's like you hammer down the nails that stick out of the floorboard, but you don't address the fundamental issue. What she's talking about is a general problem with inelastic goods. Like it's a general problem with healthcare, housing, food, a lot of stuff, you know? Cars, everything you need. They're using price-fixing algorithms. No, they're doing what everyone does, which is they're speculating on housing prices. Like, everyone does this. Private landlords do this, too, if they have the money to float off of while they're waiting for, like, a big sell or, you know, for, like, a rich renter to move in. You know, how are you going to fix it? I want to see how you're going to fix it.
We also know that as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. Even if aspiring homeowners save for years, it often still is not enough. So in addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home.
Dumb, cringe. Dumb policy, cringe. Why gatekeep that behind home purchases? What about renters? Like, this is basically just free money to people who already have the money to buy a house. Cringe. Pro home ownership policies are like the bedrock of suburban Hitlerite nonsense in developed countries. This is how Thatcher moved the entire country right, even though Britain is objectively worse in every way thanks to her.
We can do this. We can do this. All to help more Americans experience the pride of home ownership.
See, this bullshit, this is Hitler, I don't care. You. I don't believe in any of this nonsense. The pride of home ownership, it's a box you live in. Whether you rent it or own it, your ability to live in it is a arbitrary legal facade. In reality, everything is subsumed by state power. You know, they can eminent domain your ass if they want.
And the financial security
it's all a facade.
that it represents and brings. So that's my plan. But here's what Donald Trump would do. If his Project 2025 agenda is put into effect, it will add around $1,200 a year to the typical American mortgage. He's got it backward. We should be doing everything we can to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less. Finally, there's one more way I will help families deal with rising costs. And that's—
But I can pour grease down the drain of my home. You can do that anywhere, to be fair. Home ownership is the bedrock of building generational wealth in minority communities. Not really, no. I can disprove that one real easy. Go to Oakland or go to like East LA. You're gonna find lots of homes that are owned by their black residents. Go on ahead and ask them how they're doing, like financially. This is another one of those bootstrap bullshit myths. The idea that, well, once you own a home, you know, you've got it. That's your bedrock. Sure, yeah, maybe you can pass that on to your kids, and that's great and all. But isn't the fundamental issue here the fact that we have the distinction at all? You know, when you own a house, you're basically just renting it from the government, right? You pay property taxes on that shit. They can eminent domain you if they want, which, hey, if you've lived in East LA, you know how that feels probably. A lot of people lost their homes over there due to eminent domain. No, the problem here is the distinction. There should be no such thing as buying or renting a home. It should be decommodified. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going back to it because that's the clear and obvious solution. What does decommodified housing look like? Just watch my hour-long video where I yell at chat and get really mad at them, okay? It is, but there are ways for us to get there. Yeah, but the eulogization and near mythical worship of private homeownership is not the way to get there. It's the opposite. This mythical worship of homeownership is exactly how we got the GI Bill and American suburbia and everyone owning some gigantic McMansion out in the middle of nowhere that cost them basically nothing initially, but now the price have skyrocketed. It doesn't fix the problem. I hate this because you know what? Nobody talks up the glory and personal pride of homeownership when they're talking about a condo, are they? It's always a single family home with a front yard and a backyard that costs 8 times as much for the city to maintain and is significantly less efficient in terms of energy and space allocation. Nobody ever talks about the pride of homeownership when you've got like a little box of a house in an apartment building, okay? They're always talking single family bullshit. That's always how it is. Yes, they do. No, come on. Don't you try to fool me. When people talk about the pride of owning a home, they're talking about that white picket fence bullshit. Overwhelmingly, that's what they lean on. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's picket fence shit. It's like the American mythology, you know? It's the American dream. How would this work in rural areas? Nothing works in rural areas. What do you expect her to say? I'm not expecting her to be a communist. I'm critiquing liberalism. Why are you what do you expect her to do? Not be a liberal? Well, no, I don't expect her to not be a liberal. I'm just saying what I would prefer. Is that an issue? Well, people still want it, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll beat it out of them. Don't worry. Genuine question, are you against private land ownership? Yes. That's what decommodified housing means. Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, yum, yum. Yes. No private home ownership. Yum, yum. Love that. Yum, 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 yum. Land isn't housing. Don't be a pedant. You're telling me this guy's a socialist? I thought socialism was when Medicare for all. Come on. Let me live. Let me live. I see you and understand, but I still want to own my own land and home away from other people. That's great, man. Good luck. Well, I'm sorry. What, did you think what you wanted was relevant to my political prescription here? Well, you know, I agree with most of your points, Fosh, but personally, I still like the idea of being privately wealthy. That's great. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I control the country, right? I mean, I'm not in charge. Renting is a blight on a lot of minority and poor communities. Yeah, I don't like renting either. Though there are versions of renting that I think are very preferable to private home ownership. What the f you do then? You pour bacon grease down the drain. Obviously.
By letting you keep...
Okay, but what can this woman do? Of all of the leftist YouTubers and live streamers, I genuinely feel like I strike one of the best balances when it comes to me tolerating the liberals in my community, while also not being one of you. Know your place. Just, that's all I'm asking. I'm trying here, but you're really testing my patience. Like, what do you expect her to do? Be better? What, so you're a socialist? So you think she should do socialism? Come on, I'm just talking about ideas here. I know what she's limited by. I'm not stupid. That doesn't mean I can't critique it. Come on. You shouldn't talk about better things if it's not politically viable to talk about better things. Racial abolitionism, people aren't ready for that. Gender abolitionism, people aren't ready for that. Trans women and women's sports, well, 51% of Americans said they're not comfortable with that, even though they're informed by incorrect science. So that means you now have to be opposed to it. What do you expect Kamala Harris to do? Agree with the 49%? Shut up, man. Please. I'm not doing this again, okay? You can lib as much as you want, all right?
Keep more of your hard-earned money.
I hate money.
Under my plan, more than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut, and we will do this by restoring 2 tax cuts designed to help middle-class and working Americans. The Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit.
The liberals, they love their tax credits, man. They love that. They love tax credits so much. You know who tax credits don't benefit? People who make so little money they don't pay taxes to begin with. Can't just give people money. Can't just give people money.
Through which millions of Americans with children got to keep more of their hard-earned income.
A child tax credit does, though? Does the child tax credit give you, like, the government just gives you the money if you don't pay any tax? Wait, hold on. Am I wrong on that? This might be a subject where I, like, heard something a few years ago, and I'm just wrong on that. Child tax credit if you pay no federal income tax. Oh, you can get the... Okay, is that just the child tax credit, or is that another thing? It's a rebate? Yeah, but, you know, depends on the kind of rebate, whether you get it past the amount you spend or something. It increases your tax return. Is that every... No, that's every tax credit? Credits is not a deduction. No, I know that, but I know there are types of things that maybe they use a different language, like it's not the credit, but, well, whatever. I think you should just give people the money anyway, but sure, whatever. I mean, that's functionally what you're doing, I suppose. Yeah, negative tax. Child tax credit reduce child poverty in the U.S.? Yeah, I just think there are better ways of doing that, you know? Though, in this case, that's good.
We know this works and has a direct impact on so many issues, including child poverty. We know it works. So as president, I'll not only restore that tax cut, but expand it. We will provide $6,000 in tax relief to families during the first year of a child's life. Now think what that means. Think what that means. That is a vital, vital year of critical development of a child. And the cost can really add up, especially for young parents who need to buy diapers and clothes and a car seat and so on.
I feel like a direct payment would probably be, like, better politics, too, you know? Congratulations, new mother. Here's, like, $2,000 in cash in a brick in the mail or something, you know? People would go crazy for that. I think, yeah, Kamala cash, you know? The mommy check, exactly. I don't know what the obsession with using the language of tax credits is. Like, if you're getting into tax credit territory, that's, you know, the average American doesn't know how tax work at all, like how tax brackets work or what refunds are. People get happy for their tax refunds from the IRS. You know, when the IRS gives you a refund, that means that you overpaid, right? You're not getting money. If you have a smaller refund, that means you didn't overpay to begin with. That was just money you didn't have for a while for no reason. But people don't know that. When people get a tax, when they get their money back from the IRS, they're like, oh yeah, the IRS is giving me money. No, you just overpaid. $2,000 taped to a brick thrown through your window. Well, ideally, yeah, you know, the window replacement might cost a little bit more, but yeah, it's sort of a, yeah.
So much else. And we will do this while reducing the deficit. Compare
How?
my plan with what Donald Trump intends to do. He plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts year after year. And he plans to cut corporate taxes by over $1 trillion, even as they pull in record profits. And that's on top of the $2 trillion tax cut he already signed into law when he was president. There's a legal reason.
When the Supreme Court attempted to overturn the Affordable Care Act, they relabeled the program as a tax. There's a legal reason to why these programs are called a tax when they are just a rebate or direct government pay. Oh, so calling them a tax rebate gives you like a different set of legal permissions over administrating them. That does make sense. That does make sense, yeah. Because like a brick through the window of every homeowner or like every new mother or whatever with money taped to it is a little bit different administratively than just having the IRS use the already existing system that they do to administrate taxes to cut you back a check. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I still think the money with the brick method is sort of morally superior, but okay.
Which, by the way, overwhelmingly went to the wealthiest Americans and corporations and exploded the national deficit. You know, I think that if you want to know who someone cares about, look who they fight for. Fights for billionaires and large corporations. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
Yay.
So I'll end with this. 2 days ago, Donald Trump was here in North Carolina. He said he was going to talk about the economy. I think you all watched. You know what I'm about to say. But he offered no serious plans to reduce costs for middle-class families. No plan to expand access to housing or health care. And that, actually, I think for most of us, was not surprising. Because we already know his plans. We know the Project 2025 agenda. So there's a choice in this election. Donald Trump's plans to devastate the middle class, punish working people, and make the cost of living go up for millions of Americans. And on the other hand, when I'm elected president, what we'll do,
Vosh, people know how taxes work. Also, Vosh, I guess I didn't know about what refunds are for. The refunds are when you overpay. Do you mean whether or not the child tax credit pays back if you didn't pay enough in federal income tax? Yeah, sorry, I pay a lot in federal income tax, so that's not... Also, I don't have any children. It's true, I'm not personally experienced in that element of tax, but I always love to learn, you know? I love to learn. I love to learn while I'm here. I don't come at you with you know, the pretense of having already understood the issue at hand. That's why I like arguing with you guys. It's fun. I can see a lot of people are really, really salty in YouTube chat, though, because I know that a huge boost in my viewership over the past 2 or 3 weeks has been people who are super hyped for Kamala, which I respect, and you're very welcome here. But I can tell that a lot of them are getting, like, a little antsy, because it's like, wait, hold on. Is he telling us that he's voting for Trump? You look at YouTube chat, and it's like... Hey, he's criticizing Kamala. Does he want Trump to win? It's like, oh yeah, man, Trump is definitely going to decommodify housing and institute communism, the things that I would ideally like to happen. That's great. Thank you. We love our nuance here, folks. We love our American politics. You're with us or you're against us?
To bring down costs increase the security and stability financially of your family and expand opportunity for working and middle-class Americans. So now is the time to chart a new way forward. Now is the time to chart a new way forward.
You just said that.
To build. A new way forward. Yes, a new way forward. To build an America where everyone's work is rewarded and talents are valued.
Liberal rhetoric.
Where we work with labor and business to strengthen
labor and business, class collaborationism. That's an element of fascism. Sorry, folks, she's as bad as Trump. Maybe worse than Trump. 10 times as bad as Trump, I would say.
American economy. And where everyone has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead.
Fuck you.
So I thank you, North Carolina. We're going to get this done. And with your help, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. God bless you.
All right, the Clinton era of economics continues. I mean, obviously, we didn't expect anything else. She didn't even talk about all of the elements of her economic plan. Construction of millions of new homes, tax relief, new down payment assistance, national ban on price gouging. Are we ever going to get any details on this? Please. First ever tax credit for builders of homes sold to first-time buyer. Yeah, still tax credit. Why can't lefties just take this W? What W? Restrict tax benefits for big landlords, bar property owners from using services that coordinate retail housing prices and supply information. They can... Okay. Capping insulin at 35... for everyone, finding new ways to cancel medical. Oh, she's calling for this. Calling for that. Calling for the cancellation of medical debt. Giving families a $6,000 tax credit the year they have a new child. To what degree do you think our economic policy is so centrist? It's not centrist. This is communism. In American politics, this is communism. This is all she can do for now, right? She's not even going to do most of this. You know that, right? People still think Donald Trump is better on the economy. People always think Republicans are better. Are you for this or against this? You're being very wish-washy. You people are being insufferable today. You know that, right? What do you mean for this or against this? This is better than nothing. It's not good enough. This is all you'd expect. She's a liberal. What do you want? Genuinely. Wishy-washy. What do you mean? Oh my God. What could she propose that would be politically viable and make you happy? Temp banning you for the rest of the stream. Insufferable. Oh my God. It's like you forget. We need to do this more often. You people don't understand critical support. You're just like all the Twitter leftists. They hear critical support and what they think is like, oh, completely uncritical dick sucking, you know? Did you think it was uncritical support to Kamala Harris? Christ alive. Is it preferable to not doing anything? Of course it's preferable to not doing anything. Are Twitter leftist libs? Well, if you define a liberal as someone who's wrong, then yes, many Twitter leftists are in fact liberals. If you want to disregard fears over alienating moderates, why not go out that extra mile? What are you talking about? I think you need to front the idea that it's preferable to nothing. No. If somebody listens to what I'm saying and their thought is that I'm critical of this as compared to nothing being done at all, that's a reading comprehension failure on their part, and it's not my job to massage IQ lotion into their smooth brain until it absorbs the points necessary to parse what I'm saying. This is not a moderate space. I don't need to qualify every criticism of liberal economic policy with, but just so you guys know, she's still better than Trump, as though that isn't already obvious, okay? I'm not here to assuage your low IQ. You should figure it out yourselves. And if you can't, it's your fault. Vosh, the Democratic Party, hasn't been this energized since 2008, and we're up against literally Hitler too. We don't need clickbait against Kamala. Are you fucking kidding? You're actually doing it. You're actually doing the, like, if you criticize Kamala Harris, you're supporting Trump. All right, you're taking a month. Actually, you. I can't believe you guys. Jesus, man. Yeah, I've heard this one before. If it was 2016, I'd be like, hey, Hillary Clinton's kind of horrible, and you guys would be like, so you want Trump to win, huh? Thanks. Peering through time and space, you know? Vosh just forgetting he called Paul's ego a fascist over the same issue. I called Paul's ego a fascist because he thought it was okay to critique Biden for not having better economic policy. Is that true? It's crazy, man. However mean you guys think I am to you, I promise you it's not mean enough. They're all IRI viewers who never say anything bad about the Democrats. They're so insufferable. I mean, it might be partly that. Hello, Artemy. So you're saying you're in favor of bullying Lamau? That's always been the case. You've actually been way more patient than usual with chat, lol. Been the goddamn icon of mercy. To be fair, you've spent the time after Biden dropping out hyping up Harris immensely. And? Well, first of all, I actually disagree with that assessment. I haven't been hyping up Harris. I've been hyping up Harris doing better than Trump. I haven't been saying shit like Harris is going to be amazing. I've said shit like, wow, this was a really good campaign move. This is going to pull really well. I've been talking about her odds of victory over Trump, not really her character as a person or her policies. I've been more directly positive about Walz. I didn't like Kamala Harris that much back in 2020. I don't like her that much now. Just like her better than Biden. Is Tim Walz a lib, soakdem, or socialist? Just curious. I don't know. Go ask him. He's a guy. Yeah, he's a family guy. He's probably a social democrat. He's leaning in that, you know. Yeah, but I'm not, that's not that's not at all like opposed to what I'm saying, Alec Hunter. That's true, Nikki Bugs. I've been trying my best. Did you see the Obama Hope poster artist did one for Kamala and it's atrocious? Ugh. Oh, wow, that really does look quite bad. Also, who wants this? No one wants to be reminded of Obama. Maybe liberals do. Maybe you guys do. Yeah, it's pretty uninspired. And also, this looks very odd. Very cursed. People need hand-holding, and Vosh doesn't want to hand-hold liberals anymore. First of all, you don't need hand-holding. You don't need it. You don't need it. And second of all, it's not just a liberal thing. You know, it's not my fault that they're so baby-brained that they actually get up in arms over this. Be a liberal, then, and acknowledge that this is an issue of personal responsibility. They dead-ass whitewashed Kamala? I mean, yeah, a little bit.